My top priority as your governor will be to make jobs and opportunity the cornerstone of our administration.
I'm going to be the governor that restores confidence in this economy. I'm going to be the governor that creates jobs in every corner of Virginia, that finally brings Virginians together to pass a transportation plan that unlocks the avenues of commerce.
Our transportation challenges are clear. It is a top priority to attract new jobs to Virginia and to make it easier for citizens to get to work and get goods to market. We've got to have better roads and bridges.
I want to make sure that every school division in the state produces for children. I'm going to be the governor that makes college education more affordable and more accessible.
I'm going to ask every principal and every college president in Virginia to find new ways to create new opportunities so that we can fill these needs to expand Virginia's economy.
Your opponent says in your 14 years in the legislature that you never wrote a bill to create jobs, and that you voted 3 times to cut money from the governor's opportunity fund, which you now say is the fund you're going to use to build the economy.
This is simply not accurate. I've spent a lot of time during my legislative career and as Attorney General finding ways to reduce the tax and regulatory burden on folks, to create tax credits for job creation, all of which I think contributed positively to the real good economic base that we've got in Virginia.
We have to have a comprehensive approach to transportation from my perspective. Where, and you know, I don't know everything that Bob McDonnell believes, but I'm on the project list, we're going to agree on a lot of that stuff. Where we disagree is on the funding.
You pledged to fix it without raising any taxes by, among other things, diverting billions of dollars from the state's general fund. Currently, 46% of that fund goes to education, 24% to health and human resources, and 11% to public safety. Mr. McDonnell, which of those areas are you going to cut to pay for transportation improvements?
Well, if we do a good job on job creation and economic development, Chris, you don't cut any of them because you're going to expand the economy. I want to have economic development incentives to grow the economy so that the pie grows and you don't take from one or the other. With regard to our innovative transportation plan that uses general fund money and uses innovation like offshore drilling and privatizing the ABC stores, he's got nowhere left to go. We all know what the code is in his remarks, and that is that he has to raise taxes by billions of dollars that will hurt people in this economy. You know, in the last month he's been for tax increases, against tax increases, and then saying everything's on the table. I was shocked to hear him today say he's not going to raise taxes, but of course, that's the only option that he's got.
So is that a pledge that you won't raise taxes?
No, it's not a pledge. I don't take pledges. No.
I just want to clarify. You said, what I said, this is what you just said now. What I said is I have no plan to raise taxes.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's right.
But in general fund taxes. General fund taxes.
I have no plan to raise taxes. What I want to do is get a transportation bill passed next year, and we're going to have to raise money. For transportation, everything's on the table except taking money out of the general fund, taking money out of education. We have to raise money for transportation. We have a need that exceeds $1 billion a year.
Will Virginians see a tax increase if you are elected?
Virginians will not see a tax increase that goes to the general fund.
In 1989, you wrote a master's thesis in which you said
working women and feminists as detrimental to the family, and you also said the government policy should favor married couples
over cohabitators,
homosexuals, or fornicators.
The cost of sin should fall on the sinner, not the taxpayer.
Those are a couple of quotes out of a 100-page document, Chris, and what the whole purpose of the thesis was to say, look, families are the bedrock of society. It's been 20 years ago, and some of my views over time have changed. I strongly support women in the workforce. My daughter's been in Iraq. My daughters both work. My wife has worked in and outside of the home. I mean, those allegations that I think have been inferences from a quote or two out of that old thesis are simply not accurate.
In fact, we've checked the record. As a legislator, you voted against a resolution that would have called for ending wage discrimination based on gender. You voted against extending child care services, and you voted against extending or requiring health insurance plans to cover birth control. So it's not just the thesis.
Well, that's, you know, Chris, I've had 100,000 votes in the General Assembly. As an Attorney General, 90% of the bills that I introduced got passed. My opponent voted for 98% of them. I think you have to look at the entire record. I'm pro-life. I believe that government should protect life. My opponent's got a very different view. gotten bills passed like bans on partial birth abortion, parental consent. My opponent's opposed to those. So we do have a different view. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. He's opposed that constitutional amendment. So we do have some different views. My time in public service was devoted primarily to public safety initiatives, welfare reform, drunk driving reform, tax reform, a lot of common sense things that I think have made our state much better.
Throughout my career, I've been focused on two things: economic development and education. And I've got a record to back it up. You know, I wrote the legislation that created the Governor's Opportunity Fund, that put it into law, that's created 78,000 jobs since we put it in the code. I wrote the most progressive incentive-based land conservation program in the country. I wrote Megan's Law to protect children from violent sexual predators. I'm proud of my legislative record. I'm proud of my support.
I, as I said at the beginning, want to use my experience as an Army officer, a prosecutor, and a corporate manager with a Fortune 500 company, as Attorney General, having run the state's law firm, to find ways to bring people together and solve problems. I did it as Attorney General. I think that's the best evidence you can get of how I will govern, is how did I do as your Attorney General in a Democratic administration.
If I have this extraordinary opportunity to be the 71st Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, I will be all in every day, working to create opportunity in every corner of the Commonwealth. Let's get it done!
I pledge to you that I will be a governor that will have a comprehensive plan to use all of Virginia's resources to make life better for our citizens. Together, we will win in November. Thank you, and God bless you.
My name is French Mackes with the Constitution Party. I serve on the Executive Committee of the Constitution Party of the state of Virginia. I'm a candidate for House of Delegates. The things that I stand for: lower overall state spending, taxes and fees, create jobs by decreasing regulations. We're very much a pro-life party, a pro-family party. We're opposed to things like partial birth abortion, homosexual marriage being legalized, larger government deficits and increased spending. I've spoken at Tea Party events, also pro-Second Amendment. I'm a former chaplain of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach, and the Republican Party has become a very liberal party. If you're looking for a party that embraces homosexual marriage, abortion, higher deficits, that's the Republican Party, and to a greater degree the Democratic Party. But I speak from experience, and the Republican Party is no longer a conservative party. The Republican Party claims to be pro-life, pro-family, and so forth, but in reality, once elected, they side with the Democrats. They ensure that no conservative things will go through. It's sad to see so many people thinking that the Republicans are the opposite of the Democrats. They're not. Again, I urge you, I spent a long time going to 4 or 5 Republican Party meetings a month, quite familiar with the workings of them, and your average voter who's not is in tune with what's really going on with the Republican Party. It's a party to be abandoned. It really is. If you want to read more about us, go to constitutionparty.com and join the party.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, friends in Virginia. 8 months ago, I applied for the job of Governor of Virginia. Tonight, you have hired me. Thank you. I am very humbled and honored with the privilege you've given me tonight. And I thank God for His grace and His divine providence in my life. I am ready to go to work to serve you and to help lead Virginia for the next 4 years. Leading Virginia will require innovation and cooperation. My promise to you as governor is the same as my promise to you as candidate for governor, and that is to strengthen the free enterprise system, to create more jobs and opportunity so that every Virginian can use their God-given talents to pursue the American dream in liberty here in this great Commonwealth. And we will do everything possible to keep taxes and regulation and litigation and spending to a minimum here in Virginia so that freedom can grow. You've given me the title of Governor of Virginia. But I pledge to you over the next 4 years, action and results. I'm reminded of the old adage of the Boy Scouts that I will bring to Virginia, and that is working together with Ken and Bill and you and the great leadership team that we will leave Virginia better than we found it. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless Virginia. Thank you very much.